Alrighty, welcome back to the next installment of the Autopsy class. Right now we're going to take a look at Krebs' recent file history. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to check out data sources, Craig Tucker desktop, and then we are going to navigate to users Craig, and then we are going to go to app data, roaming, Microsoft, Windows, okay, right, okay, cool, and then recent, and we can click on recent and check out what the files he's recently opened were. Right off the bat, we see some kind of sus looking files, so you can flag these. In the next video we're going to talk a little bit more about these files, but the underage part makes it fall under child exploitation, which is illegal because Craig attends college. So I'm going to assume he's older than 18. And I don't actually know exactly how that works, but it may be illegal even if he is under 18. So I went ahead and flagged these with child exploitation illegal because that's illegal. Next thing I'd like to talk a little bit about are link files. So you'll notice that there actually is no file here, so we can't know what was actually on the file. It just says LNK, which is a link file. So there's nothing actually 100% incriminating about that because we don't know what the file was there. Maybe it was a haha funny prank. So let's discuss a little bit about what a link file is. Here I have this decode. It's one of the applications we'll be using later in the course, I believe our next lesson. And if I were to say create shortcut, it's going to create this, right? Shortcut to decode. So when I open it, it opens this folder, right? That's what a shortcut does. When I delete it, it's going to go to the recycling bin, which I'll drag over here for now for the purposes of this. And it's here, right? But it still takes up data. And why would that be? Because if I were to restore it, right, I would still want it to do its job. If I drag it back from having restored it, right, I want it to open the folder still. And so what a link file is it points to whatever it's linked to. So in this case, we've got these link files pointing to something, right? And one nice thing about these link files is they're going to tell us a decent bit about the thing that they were linked to. So we're going to take a look at the peer link file first here. If we go to the hex. Anyway, so a link file is pretty much like a shortcut, and it points back to an original file. So why do we care about these link files? They're going to tell us a decent bit about the file itself, the file that they're linked to. So if we go ahead and look at the hex data of this peer.lnk, and we look at these 8 bytes right here, these ones, beginning with 56 right here and ending with 01, that's going to tell us the creation time. And so you just kind of have to know where what is, but once you know, it should stay consistent. The next is going to be 56, next 8 bytes through 01 right here, and that's going to be the last time the file is accessed. And 00 through 01 down here is going to be the last time the file was modified. So actually we're going to be using decode on this as well. I'm going to pull up decode. If you don't have decode downloaded, I'm going to show you really quickly how you would do that. Basically, you'd go to this website. I'll put the link in the description. And you click on decode right here. Scroll down a little bit. Press download. It's going to prompt you to download this zip folder. And once you've downloaded that zip folder, you can go ahead and unzip it, right? unzip the folder, and within it you're going to get this exe file, and you're just going to want to run it. It asked me to verify that I was okay with running it because it might harm my computer. I went over yes. I'll put some footage of that up right now. Anyway, so now we have it running, and because of the location and the type of operating system running, I can tell you that this is a little endian encoding, and that's how it will be for pretty much all of Windows, if not all of it. And we can go ahead and put in those values we were discussing. Let me pull decode up really quickly. Whoops. Hexadecimal little endian. And if we go, where was it? 56, 61, 89, 8A, C8, FD, CE01. We decode it really quickly. And then we go down to Windows file time and UTC. We're going to get that date right there. And then we would record the date. It's going to be Friday the 20th of December 2013. Then we're going to go to the next one. Give it a different value, which is actually the same string of numbers. So the last access time is going to be the same, and then the last write time of the file, 6C4 FDCE01. Decode it, and this time we're going to get Friday, December 20th again if we look at the Windows file time, but it's a different time of the day, so interesting. And if you want to, you can try that on some of these files, see what you get, go to the hex. But that's how you would go about determining the creation time, access time, and last modified time. And just to review what those mean, creation time is when a file is first opened. It creates that link file. So it's the link file's creation time, which again occurs when the file is first opened. The modified time is the time when the file was last opened, and the access time, it doesn't exist in Windows Vista 7 and 8, but access time is going to be the same. So that's why those two are the same, is because access time doesn't exist in Windows 8, and we've identified Craig's computer to be a Windows 8 computer. And basically the purpose of what we just did is to determine a little bit of a timeline as to what happened with those files, especially if the files, like these underage links right here, are important to the case. So there's an example of a file that's been opened more than once. Let's go to, so if we go to this Cheetos link file, we can check this out. So right here, we see something pretty important. We can also go to results to see this more easily. But basically, the path to this link file, to the file this file was linked to, this linked file was pathed to a Cheetos file, if that makes sense, was eCouponscheetos.jpg. And so far, we've only had one drive, the C drive, right? The computer's main drive. So this points to Craig having an external hard drive or a USB or a flash drive or pretty much any form of external storage. And that's something that's interesting for us to know. And so if we go about looking at this file as well, if we do the translations that we just went over on these 8 digits, or these 8 bytes, these 8 bytes, and these 8 bytes right here, just as we did before, we will find that the creation time for the link file is different from the first access time, and is also different from the last write time. And so one thing that this points to, which is interesting, is we discussed that NTFS is a type of file encoding But there's another type of file encoding called FAT32. And in FAT32, the last access time is not tracked. So basically, since we get this Friday 20th December 2013 at 8 o'clock UTC, we can tell that this is a FAT32 type of file encoding. So we discussed that NTFS is a type of file encoding. Another type of file encoding is FAT32. And these 8 digits right here give us a little bit of a clue that points to this drive being encrypted, or not encrypted, encoded in FAT32. And that is that FAT32 does not track the time of last access time. It only tracks the date. So when we put this into decode, I'll actually go ahead and do that. This one's special, it's important. Decode it. We get 8 o'clock, right? And so what, unless this guy actually opened it at 12 o'clock midnight at that day, what's happening right here is decode is attempting to convert something that's 0 o'clock to UTC, so it added an extra 8 hours. But basically what this is telling us is it's likely that since this drive was encrypted in FAT32, that no time was actually recorded. So that's something we know about the hard drive now, or the external disk, or the flash drive, or whatever it's going to be here. And again, we can make a timeline for that file. And the last one of these link files we're going to discuss is mileycyrustongue.lnk. So if we go to the hex on this one, there are a lot of zeros. And if you remember, we were looking at these 24 bytes to see embedded information, and there's nothing there. So this can point to a few things. Maybe Craig used save as on a picture on a website, like when you search in Google Chrome, cool background, and then you right click the picture and press save as. That would have created no information in these sectors right here. He could have created the file in an application but never opened it, and he could have saved an attachment through an email client software, but then again also never opened the file. So when it has no embedded date and timestamps, it just kind of gives you an idea of where the file came from, but not much else. And I was kidding. This is actually our last example here. We're going to go ahead and look at this now, because this is probably the most important file here. I mean, these three. Basically, if we check out the results, right, it'll say, oh, this is where the file was, right? But if we navigate there, it's going to be pictures. Okay, excuse me. See users Craig. Where is pictures? Right there, right? Not there anymore. Interesting. Probably for a reason, right? However, what we can go ahead and look at now is the date and time. And this is where this becomes really important. So if we look at these first 4, right, or these first 8 bytes right here, if you decode them, it'll tell us that it was Saturday, 21st December 2013 was the creation time. These 8 would tell us that the access time is Saturday, 21st December 2013 at the same time. And these 8 right here would tell us that the last write time of the file was also the 21st of December, except at 5 o'clock, almost 6 o'clock. So the modified date is different from the time created date, which means the file was opened more than once. And we can make a little bit of a timeline about the file. Basically, the guy saved the file, he opened it pretty quickly, and then maybe he opened it a few more times, and then it's gone. So it's a file that we're going to try to look for based off of the nature of the name of the link. And we are going to find it in one of these subsequent videos. So now we're going to go over jump lists, and they're a new feature as of Windows 7. And they're basically pretty much the same thing as shortcuts, except they're for recent files. So if you go into Microsoft Word or Pages, it's not the same thing, but it's the same concept. You can open a recent file or something like that. or a file you open frequently, like frequently opened is another one. If you press your Windows key, it'll say most used. I suspect that that's a similar function. So what we're going to go ahead and do is go to C, go to Craig, and go to App Data again. We're going to go roaming Microsoft recent, and then in recent we're going to check out these automatic and custom destinations right here. I'm going to sort them by the name. What we're going to do is shift select all of them. You can also do them one by one, and we're going to extract them to my desktop. We're going to do the same for custom destinations. Extract them all, save on my desktop, and then we're going to go to GitHub, this repository. I'm going to go down to release, jump list or zip, and press download, and it's going to download a zip file. I'm going to put that zip file there. Going to extract everything, and now that it should be pretty much done extracting, can open it, right? Run the exe file, and then we can load the jump lists that we just extracted into that file. And basically, this program is going to help us analyze the jump lists. And so, what we're going to do is press load, file load, kind of like the Registry Explorer. Go to desktop and select these. Open them. Okay, and then once we've done that, we can look at the information about the jump list. And so, pricing sheet, pretty harmless. Awesome coupons, more pretty harmless stuff. Right? Look at everything here. All coupons, still pretty harmless. Oh, there we go. There's the underage. And so, yet again, we have another pretty much link file to potential child pornography. And so, this version of Jump Lister doesn't display what application goes with the jump list. Like, this would probably be Windows default video player, or it could be that like orange triangle cone one. I forgot the name of it, but one thing we're going to want to look at a little bit is also it'll tell us the created and modified and whatnot for us. So this is kind of a more automatic way of doing it, very helpful. Tells us the path as well. So let's just keep looking around a little bit. And so we can view them one by one like this, right? Or we can view a whole list of them. And in this list, we've got more the same files. And so from the looks of things, right, these were transferred potentially onto a external drive, because right here we have when they were created, right? Probably downloaded them somewhere, and then he transferred them to an external drive would be my guess, just looking at this, right? So we've got December 21st and January 1st right here. Kind of interesting, right? And so one thing that they suggest being able to do is being able to export all this and use this data in a export complete. So now we've got this thing right here, this CSV. It's going to be open in Excel by default, right? Open it, and it's quite big, but one thing that we should be able to do now is we can do stuff like finding everything that's from the E drive, right, and view it more easily. So one thing that they were suggesting is we can use that program to view it, or if we've got a lot of stuff to do or we want to sort by time or something like that, we can export it into a CSV file and open it in Excel or Google Sheets or LibreOffice's version of Excel. I don't know what it is. I forget. LibreOffice is a great free thing to check out, though, if you guys do not have those tools available to you. Google Sheets is another free spreadsheet tool. You can search for specific things, right? So we transferred a lot of stuff that we've been unable to find onto a hard drive or an external disk or something from the looks of things. So maybe that's something we should look around for, right? We have probably what the court or what the cops or what the law would consider reasonable, don't know the exact term, but basically reasonable thought process or logic or evidence that justifies our searching somewhere else, basically. One more thing that I'm actually going to go over, forgot, on the Excel thing, on the Excel document is a tool called, okay, so on Google Sheets it's called something a little bit different. I believe it's called column something, but it's the same dealio. Basically you can choose a delimiter, which in this case, if you look at our data here, it's all separated by commas. So I'm going to go to the next, and then I'm going to select column. I'm going to go to next again and finish. And so now I only did it for this top row, so I can do it again. But text to table. Oh, okay, my bad. Cool. So you have to select the column. Fixed width, or I mean delimited, and separate it using the same process. And you can separate things so that they're in nice. Each column has a separate piece of data, right? And yeah, so if you click the other CSV file, it should have the dates as well as this information. So if you open the link info instead, and we select, yet again, we have to select the first column here, and then do text to table with a delimiter as a comma. We're going to get some nice data here. We've got file name, file path, etc., etc., etc. Where did it go? And you can look a little bit about what type of device it came from and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, that's how you would use the CSV in Excel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today. It was a little bit longer than the other ones, but this is important information that you need to know, and hopefully you had fun. Thank you. You should sign up. You'll be able to say that you rose to the occasion.